Welcome, everybody. How you doing? Welcome, everybody, to episode number 72 of the Sports Blitz. I can't believe it's number 72. Unbelievable. I'm Doug. We have Robbie here. Robbie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Doug. Happy week post Super Bowl. Hope everybody's doing well out there. If you're under a rock or in a cave, as we always say, Doug, you might want to come out, give us a listen or a review, and then go right back in. Not quite the time to come back out yet, but very excited to be here. Very excited for tonight's episode, Doug.
Absolutely. And from South Denver, we have a very, very special guest tonight. That we're going to talk some sports. We're going to talk some Super Bowl, and we're also going to talk about sports betting tonight, which we haven't gotten into at all. So we're going to talk that. It's Drew Good, my very good friend I've known for a little over a year now. Worked with Drew for a little while, and Drew's awesome. Drew, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me on, and I'm excited. Love talking sports, love talking sports betting, and yeah, let's go Tennessee.
Absolutely, that's right. And I'm, of course, sporting the Office Evolution colors tonight, so I got to show that just in case we have some Office Evolution people out there that are going to see the show.
They'll see the stream. They'll see it. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. So we wanted to start off with a game that I actually thought the Super Bowl commercials were a little bit more interesting than the game itself. But I definitely wanted to start with the Super Bowl, and then we'll get into the betting side of this. But we started with the Super Bowl, and I wanted to kind of get, just kind of, Robbie and Drew, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the game itself and what you thought. And when you first sat down and started watching, did you think that what happened was going to happen? So we'll start with Drew. Drew, you start because you're the guest tonight. Did you have any clue that this was going to happen?
Honestly, no. I went heavy on the Chiefs. In the sports world, you kind of pick you ride momentum like that, but as quarters roll, as you see the game progress, man, you're kind of scratching your head. Right. Tommy B, he is the best, the greatest. He is undeniably the best game manager I've ever seen in my lifetime. So it was just one of those. It wasn't surreal. The home field advantage, I didn't think was going to be an issue, but it definitely was. You could hear the roar on third downs. You could hear the incompletion roars. That probably was something that the Chiefs never heard throughout their season. You didn't have a lot of guys that weren't there before. So it was, I'll just talk to the first half. It was just something that you're just kind of like, okay, this is happening.
Exactly. But it totally makes sense, Drew. And it makes sense that it was a little bit of a surprise, but I think you're right about the home field. Robbie, what did you think of the home field advantage in this? And what did you think of the game itself?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the home field advantage definitely had more of an impact than I think a lot of people expected it to. I think the thing I just was not expecting that Kansas City was literally not going to put up any touchdowns in that game offensively. I thought, listen, on this show last week, I did pick the Bucs to win, but at the same time, I thought it was going to be a very close game. I thought it was going to be, one of those down to the wire, high scoring offensive affairs given the two offenses involved. But that Bucs defense, you just got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, from the very first series, they were just able to get pressure on Mahomes and really not let him get into rhythm, I feel like. And it just, the whole game, just no matter where Mahomes turned, it felt like, he had that defensive line on top of him, play after play after play. And so you got to give the Bucs defense a lot of credit. I mean, you got to give their offense a lot of credit as well for the job that they did. But I mean, the Bucs defense, I think that's the part that surprised me the most. They just shut them down offensively, and was really, really a big reason why they are Super Bowl champions and why they won going away.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I, we had talked about it last week. And one of the things that we talked about was what each team could do to win. And one of the things we talked about was putting pressure on Mahomes, and that's one of the things that's how the Bucs were going to be able to, because once you get him out of, just like you said, out of rhythm and put pressure on him, he's pressured to either run or throw the ball in an erratic way. Now, not that he can't, and he's thrown we've all seen the games, some of the KC games. He could go to one side and throw to the other side. So that's not typically an issue, but they put a ton of pressure on him where he was running backwards a lot of the times and just throwing the ball away because he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Now, what's good is what we talked about, Drew, was the fact that the coverage was really good too. And we talked about that as one of the keys to the game, is the coverage was so good. And the defense, that outer defense, the safeties, that safety defense was so good that he had nobody to throw to.
Well, I'll interject that. I think they took Tyreek Hill out of the game.
Big time.
They're dropping too deep. They say, Bruce Arians is saying, I will let you get anything from 5 to 15. Once you get beyond the 50-yard line, going into the red zone, we'll clamp down. It didn't really seem like they ever got that traction. They ever got that. So if we could roll back to the AFC Championship game, right? And they're down 21-7 to the Texans. And everyone is just, no. Kansas City did their thing. They caught their wind. They did Kansas City things, right? You have Bieniemy, who is a CU alum, and you have Andy Reid, who is it's Andy Reid. But you just never caught. They just never caught that second gear in the entire game. So offensively, and I read something on Next Gen Stats where Patrick Mahomes ran over 490 yards before throwing the ball at any given snap.
Wow.
So he was absolutely running for his life the entire game.
Yeah.
I was going to say, were they negative yards? Because he was running back. He was running.
Well, as he dropped back and then before he passed off, you know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I'm just saying there was a couple times that I saw, at least 2 or 3 times where I saw where he was. I'm like, dude, you're going in the wrong direction. You
almost feel like it's like a flashback to Texas Tech. You know, he's trying to make things happen that you can't make happen, especially in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think his I know he's going to have toe surgery. Do you think his injury had anything to do with it? Because I know in the last part of the game, I noticed that he was a little ginger on his injury. So I'm trying to figure out whether that was part of it. I know he's played with it, so and he's played well, but I just think, I don't know if it was if something aggravated it or something like that. I know he was tackled pretty hard too. So
yeah, I think that Cleveland Browns game really came. I mean, the Browns are no joke. I'll say that they came in and they beat him up. I think he may have still been recovering from that a little bit.
Yeah.
I know. Wait, who do they play in the AFC Championship? Buffalo, right? I thought the Browns gave him a way better test.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I remember that they were calling like that horse collar. It might have been yada yada.
Yeah, there was a
he was
horsepower
going
too,
under-
and I know he just got over a concussion, so I was trying to figure out whether he was
Yeah,
really like
I
with
mean,
it.
he went to the
in
10 a
last
few times
10
in that
minutes.
game.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out whether he was really with it the last 10 minutes of that game because he looked a little dazed and confused, maybe. But
Yeah.
I think it was okay. But I think he might have. I don't know. Once you get one concussion and you come back after a week or two, week and a half, once you get one concussion, it's easier to get another one. So that's a
Yeah.
whole show. in
I thought
itself.
they,
But
I mean, they are a force in the AFC, and hats off to Tom Brady, hats off Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Those, I don't know what to say. They had a great game plan.
Leonard Fournette,
Gronk.
Gronk out of nowhere.
340-year-old Leonard Fournette is running for over 100 yards. What is up with that?
So as we get into the betting section, I'll let you guys know. If you guys want to transition, I got a good one for you.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to get everybody's final thoughts of the game itself, and then we can get into the excuse me. We can get into the to the betting section. We can go on to our next segment.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get just final thoughts on what you thought about the game. I thought it was. I don't know. I just thought it was a little surprising. Yeah. Just like Robbie said, Robbie did say the Bucs would win. I said the Chiefs would win, but my heart said I was rooting for Brady. So I was rooting for him. So did I have a problem with him winning? No, not at all. Not at all. But I was really surprised because just like Robbie said, I thought it was going to be closer. I thought it was going to come down. They were tied at the end of the game. And either they went into overtime or it was going to be a field goal. It was going to be like this 55-yarder that was going to decide the game. Butker was going to kick it, and all of a sudden, all said, it's all done. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And it was totally the opposite direction. And what I thought I thought it's like on any given Sunday. I mean, anybody can win. And it's like, it's like that's why I think they go to the next game so quickly because they don't want to talk. They want to focus on this game. They want to focus on the next one. Obviously, this is the last one, so not much after that. But I just think I was really surprised. That's all. Yeah. Robbie, what were your thoughts on that?
I was very surprised as well, and it definitely. I had mixed emotions that all three of the touchdown passes went to former Patriots. That was definitely a interesting pill to swallow there. But no, hey, listen, I'm very happy for Tom Brady, the GOAT, 7th Super Bowl ring. Like I said, very happy for him and the Bucs. I was very surprised though, Doug, like you were saying, that the game took that turn in terms of one-sidedness. Very surprised about that.
Yeah, Drew, what were your final thoughts about the game? I just know that, Brady had something to prove, and I think he proved it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a funny thing, he's coming back, right?
Yeah. Well, Gronk said he's coming back too, and so did everybody else.
Yeah, and then I know I've read a report about Mike Evans saying, hey, if you need to take money for somewhere, take it from me. Let's keep the band together. Bruce Arians is.
Wait a minute, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's that Patriot. It's what you guys would call the Patriot way.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what we called it.
The one thing I was disappointed was I love the gunslinging. I love the college football scores. You have a guy that is in Patrick Mahomes who throws for 400 yards and he flicks a wrist. It didn't happen. Obviously, you have great coaching staffs on both sides. Bruce Arians has been around for a minute. Yeah. Andy Reid, Cheeseburger Andy Reid. Right? And, I don't know if it was execution. The Kansas City didn't have two top offensive linemen. That hurts. That hurts really bad.
Yeah. That definitely had an impact.
But you know what? Good Super Bowl overall, and we gotta wait. How many months?
Yeah, exactly.
Till next
Well,
one.
well, the Patriots actually don't have a quarterback right now, so we can wait until after they get a quarterback, whoever that may be. So
Hey, maybe you get Garoppolo back.
yeah, well, I'm not so, this is definitely, Robbie and I had discussed that this is definitely going to be a show for later on, and I just really want to not talk about it. I want to leave it alone for a little while, and then when they start thinking about it, we'll start thinking about it too.
Yeah.
But that goes to our next segment. Terrible segue, but it goes to our next segment, which is Drew. You had a story about we're gonna jump right into the sports betting thing. And Drew, you said you had a story, so why don't you start with that story, and then we'll move forward.
Well, I'll just start with sports betting in Colorado.
Yeah.
Legislation went through. Actually, it was introduced in 2019, and it was passed that year, 2020, and implemented in May of 2020. So that was great. But obviously, we had the pandemic, but sports were still going on. We still had to wait a little bit, which was fine. But one of the big things that I realized with sports betting for us here in Colorado, there was a water project that needed upstart money, and that money that money came from tax revenue from sports gambling, and they were expecting, I think they needed 2.4, and they got 3.5 in a lot amount of time. So
Wow.
I mean, sports gambling it's huge. Up in Blackhawk, where there is the Barstool Sportsbook.
Yeah.
Yep. They have that, but the what I wanted to get at was the Gronk prop bets.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, explain to us a little bit about what a prop bet is.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I like to gamble anything, actually.
I can tell you don't have a lot of stuff on your wall, so is that, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you gotta hockey. No. So
No,
prop bets
I'm
are
kidding.
prop bets are single bets. You can't you can usually not parlay them in traditional sports books. What I usually use out of Colorado is FanDuel. It's accessible through my phone. I can actually go up to Blackhawk and cash my ticket, my digital ticket if I want to, but I have it on my phone. But a lot of things that are non-traditional are actually a lot more fun, I think. So growing up in Nevada, you have the spread, you have points, and you have the over-under, right? Pretty typical. You might have a few props when the Super Bowl comes up, national anthem, the coin flip, and the Gatorade bath. That's always a fun one. It's a digital age, and so as you are able to,
I don't think we saw. I don't root you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't think we saw the Gatorade.
Was it blue? I thought I
It was
read
blue.
it was blue. Yeah.
Blue.
Okay, because I never saw it. I just saw him all wet and going high fiving everybody and stuff like that. I don't think I saw it, so I'm not sure if I missed it or whatever. But okay, that's fine.
So
that makes sense.
It was blue, and I mean they give you, I think the 4 colors is blue, yellow, red, orange. So, but for me, it's just gambling is. Oh, sorry. Sports gambling is really easy in Colorado. You have a plethora of sports books that are digital: FanDuel, William Hill, and DraftKings, and they're all sanctioned. It's all legal. It's all good. So to be able to do that here in the state, it just generates a crazy amount of tax revenue for projects. Same thing with when cannabis became legal in 2008.
Definitely. It's interesting. So obviously in Massachusetts, where Doug and I are, sports gambling unfortunately is not legal yet. I know that there's been a lot of talk about over the last year or two, especially within the political circles here in the state. So I was kind of curious about that right off the bat, being from a state and actually having grown up also in a state, where it is legal and is very, popular and, a big commodity. I was curious, what your thoughts were on some of and again, no Massachusetts lawmakers listened to this show, but what sort of your thoughts on were some of the benefits, even just the state. I know you kind of were mentioning it earlier, but sort of the benefits to the state economy from having something like sports gambling being legalized across the board, in a state like here in Massachusetts where it is not yet.
Yeah, so you kind of put that point. Gambling is, I'll go back to Nevada. Gambling is a huge revenue source for the state of Nevada, and so is hospitality. So it kind of goes hand in hand. As you venture back out to Colorado, once legalized sports betting became prominent, we've had Black Hawk and Cripple Creek. These are table games, slots. We get that revenue, but once they introduce these sports bettings where I can bet in my home state, it's blown up. It's absolutely. I feel like it should be encouraged everywhere, because if I'm not betting on, say, FanDuel, I can bet on Bovada. Bovada is overseas, but that money is not going towards my home state. It's not going towards anything that's constructive for us. When they introduced this bill and they passed it, so when I lose money, which we all do, that money is going back into the community.
Right.
It's not going overseas because I'm using a offshore betting site, because I'm not currently in my hometown of Nevada.
Right.
So that's a huge advantage. That money stays within the state. It stays here. It doesn't go anywhere else.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. That's a huge benefit, because it goes back into the state in which you're betting, especially if it's your own state. You want them to be able to, just like you said earlier,
There's a water fund that's a startup
I mean, they made over $3 million to 300 million or 3 million.
3 million. They needed 2 and they got 3.
They needed 2, they got 3. Right, there you go.
Easy.
I mean, that's what happens, and then they could start the project earlier because they have the means to be able to do it at this point. I just did a little online research as Robbie was asking some questions. It turns out that there is a bill in Massachusetts that's already on the books, but it has to pass the state legislature first. They're predicting that the sports betting with horse tracks and online is gonna vet them $70 million in revenue before anybody starts betting at all.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible. It is going to be taxed at 15%. And that looks like that's what the bill is out there for. But still, I mean, that's huge revenue for our state. And why we haven't already just passed it through is just crazy. Because I was talking to you earlier, we were kind of discussing and stuff like that. And I was telling him that I know Rhode Island has a bill that's already passed. It's out there. They're fine. They're down there betting
New Hampshire
all kinds
too.
of things.
New Hampshire too.
New Hampshire
also,
and
yeah.
Maine. Maine is also I don't know Vermont, but I know Maine, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island are all three states that are around us that are making money off of the betting.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Drew, if you remember, and maybe you don't. What was your first bet, and what would you tell somebody? What would you tell somebody that was just starting out? What would you tell them to do? I mean, would you tell them to go on the app? You go on FanDuel and bet $100, or what would you tell somebody who's just starting to think about doing something like
Oh man, that's a great. I love that question. That's awesome. For somebody's their first, for somebody that's never touched gambling at all. If we talked about this 2 years or 3 years ago, I would be like, bet the Warriors, money line, bet the Warriors.
that?
True.
Right.
Yeah.
What's like the process? How would you go about doing it? Do you remember the first bet that you had that you did?
No, honestly, I don't. I mean, I got money on. I got money right now on just some. I just do it as it's not a means of income. It's a means of engaging for me to the game. I mean, $20, $30 here. You know, I take it out. You get lucky on a few. If I was gonna talk to a first-time gambler or first-time like Drew, what should I bet? I would say don't bet a parlay.
Okay, and a parlay is several bets, or
It's
is it,
it's two or more.
okay?
If one loses, you lose the whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
doing that.
So if someone came to me and said, Drew, I got $20 and I want to win some money on a certain game or on a sports game, I would say you pick money line on the favorite in the middle of the season, because a lot of times middle of the season there's a lot of I just don't feel good about say, oh yeah, take that 20. You know what you do is you do over the Rapids, under Toronto, because blah blah blah, yada yada. The thing is parlays are they're big wins, but you lose one, you lose them all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. So you would basically say to me, Drew, I have so you would say mid-season, if I wanted to bet Celtics, it would be mid-season, it would be
Well,
low money.
I would ask you, is Jason Tatum playing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that's
Jason
good
Tatum,
thought.
Jaylen Brown.
Very good
Yeah.
thought.
Are they available?
I
Yeah.
was talking mid-season, so I know Jalen's a little bit banged
Are
up.
you guys following the game right now? How we doing?
We're doing good. We're up
I
10
think
at
we're
the half.
winning. Yeah. Yeah.
We're up 10 at the half.
Yep.
Yep. I just checked. Actually, I just got
Against the Toronto/Tampa Raptors.
Right. Exactly. Right. So if I was going to bet like $20, now would you also to kind of piggyback the question I just did? It's not like the old days where you call up, the bookie.
Yeah, your bookie.
Yeah, your bookie. Yeah, your guy. You call up your guy and you go, "Hey, I want $20 on the Celtics in the, to
Oh
win."
yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So now it's not like that. Now it's
all
digital.
digital.
It's all digital. It's online.
FanDuel.
And FanDuel is. So is there so you would tell me to at midseason, probably a team that was probably winning, most likely, or even if it was the Celtics or if it was whoever, it'd be short money to start, obviously.
Yeah, no,
something that's
I don't recommend anyone trying to make a living off this.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy. I do it for I do it for entertainment, and I do it to, I like the prop bets. Robbie, prop bets are the best. They're fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Robbie was asking me last week how long do I think that the national anthem would go longer than 2 minutes?
No,
it was
always
157
hit the under.
At first I asked him, first of all, why are you asking me these questions? Because I don't care.
Robbie,
now I know why he was asking me, so I get it.
Yeah.
I know. So so I'll tell you this one thing about Colorado sports betting comparatively to Vegas, Nevada, anywhere that is completely legal, is the prop bets for the Super Bowl are very limited. You don't get the Gatorade shower. You don't get the over-under on the national anthem. The what is it called? The coin flip. You don't get those
That's not bad.
on like FanDuel. I can't speak for DraftKings, but I know if I was in Nevada and I went to a William Hill sportsbook, I could get those. I could get those odds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I prop bets have always been very interesting to me, just like
They're
especially
fun.
very for the Super Bowl. You know, I mean, you look at like just all these little things that you can bet, like who's going to score the first touchdown, or like just all these different things. And yeah, it is really interesting. I was curious to know though, like, and I don't know, I've never really read the research on it, but like, what are some of like the most like popular? I know we just kind of named off a bunch of different prop bets that you could do, but like, what are some of the most popular? Are there even like really ones that are more popular than ours, or is it just sort of your own sort of personal taste what kind of prop bets you do?
Yeah, no, I'll kind of just draw off of what I remember from the Super Bowl. A lot of prop bets are anytime score. So that would be Travis Kelce, usually plus 120. Antonio Brown, I remember he was plus 420. So you bet $1, you win 420.
Wow.
And
I knew I should have bet
Antonio
$1.
right, Gronk.
Wow.
Those are one of my favorite prop bets during the football season are the anytime scores. I Everyone's gonna kill me here because I'm gonna talk a little bad about Drew Lock. He went 5 weeks with a pick, and that's a prop bet.
Yeah.
If you bet before the game starts, it will show in say FanDuel. What I use is, will Drew Lock throw a pick? Yes, no, and the odds are really high for him to throw a pick. But I'll throw $20, and sure enough, first drive he throws a pick. So yeah, he did that. He did that a few times. So that was easy money.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, I mean, it's interesting because again, I'm not really, I definitely am not, a gambler, which is why I love having you on because I'm learning so much already.
Yeah.
One of the things that I sort of heard about, from just sort of listening, I do kind of follow Barstool a little bit, so I kind of sort of see their, their little gambling things that they do. One of the things that I hear a lot about from them is the whole idea of live betting, which I mean it's sort of like during the game, sort of the odds change,
Yeah.
change during the game and stuff like that. So again, if you're sort of talking to somebody who's sort of more novice in this whole thing, and you're sort of talking to them about before the game betting as opposed to live game betting, what are some of the things that someone who may be interested, as the game's going on, taking a look at some of these live bets, be looking for, and what kind of things sort of play into again to just sort of that live betting situation?
Yeah, that's Robbie. That's great because it's everything is so accessible. Lines move consistently, and for me, I'm old school. I feel like if I don't get a bet in before the game starts, I'm really not going to bet that game. You can absolutely, as the game, you could have, we'll go all the way back to Duke versus Lehigh in 15, where Duke is up by, I think they're up by 10. If you translate that to a sports book, Duke is going to win by, they're still going to be favored. Obviously, we know Lehigh beat Duke in the first round. But if you want to watch your phone or your computer that closely and just watch because the lines will change as plays move, right? As runs move in the NBA. So say the Rockets go up 10 and then Memphis comes back and hits 2 threes, that line is going to shift very, very violently just based on the last 1 to 2 minutes. betting live, like if you're physically at the game and you can feel the momentum shifts, I'm all for it. But if you're watching it on TV and you just see, just a 10-point shift in a basketball game, or, a run back, the line's going to shift live.
Yeah.
Your best, I would say, let the lines. No, sorry. I let the lines sit. I don't like a lot of movement. I need the lines to sit within wherever, and then I'll make that bet. If I see them move, like that's live betting. You'll see it pretty frequently. Basketball is really huge. You'll see the lines move very frequently. The over-unders, and again, it's gambling. You go in and you got a game. You say, you know what? I'm going under on the 219, and they go out and they absolutely smoke the first quarter and they have 70 points. You could hedge your bet and say, you know what? I think they're going to go over, but that line is already moved. That 219 is now 227.
Yeah.
In the first quarter. So if you want to try to hedge that bet, you're going to have to make sure that they keep staying hot. It's all, I guess you would say it's all relative. I don't bet huge. I bet for entertainment. I bet for fun.
Right.
And I love watching sports.
Oh yeah.
Well, it certainly adds to it. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly adds to it. So I just wanted to get an idea of. I got a question that kind of piggybacks the one that Robbie just said. Is that you said the line moves. Can you? Is that live when you go on FanDuel? Can you see the lines move live, or do you have to go? Do you have to keep refreshing, or is it just one of those things where you're just, you just have no
Looks
idea?
like we're gonna get a live demonstration here.
Yeah, I mean the line will move as the game goes on.
I got you.
Oh,
You'll see it go green, and we'll see it go fucking red. So, my bad.
No, that's all right. No.
All right.
As this one
anyway.
goes, this one's going up and down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got you. Yep.
So, yeah, it's live as it can get. And the early days, you get this unless you're sitting at the sports book. I mean,
Yeah.
they would only give you the start of the game, the half. From what I remember,
Okay.
there was really no prop bets on single. There's no prop bets on single games. I couldn't bet Duncan Robinson for the Miami Heat to hit 4 threes.
Right. Exactly right. No, that totally makes sense. But I wanted to kind of ask you. And it's kind of a dual question. The first question I have is what kinds of things, you say you do the prop bets. How long have you been betting? I know you're obviously from the Nevada area, but wanted to get an idea of how long it's obviously you're talking about it like you've been doing it for a long time, but I just wanted to get an idea of how long, kind of you've been doing this, not seriously, actually for fun, of course, but wanted to find out how long you've been doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been betting since I was probably 21.
There you go.
Really, when I started making money, when I started like being able to bet, you don't bet to make your mortgage.
Right. Well, of course.
So,
No, that's great. The other question that piggybacks that one is that I hope that you can answer this question. I know this may be a difficult question to answer, but wanted to see because we'll definitely have an audience for this one, I'm sure. So I wanted to find out what was the largest amount of money that you lost.
Oh,
I know it could be a tough question because
I can give you a better one. I can give you a better one where I won money.
Yeah, well, that was
we
my
don't
next
remember
piggyback.
losing.
That was my
Oh,
piggyback question to
shit.
that.
Largest was 350 on the Rockets to Rockets money line against San Antonio, or 350. I remember that clearly.
Yeah,
Lost by
you
3.
always remember the ones you lost pretty quickly. Once you win.
You know
No,
that
that's
only would have paid 345.
right. Okay.
It wasn't
Yeah.
even big.
Yeah. Right. Well, and how much did you put down for that?
Put down 315.
You put down 350. Okay.
Yeah.
I got
And
you.
it would only have netted 345. Something like
345.
that.
So you weren't going to win a lot. You weren't going to go over a lot.
Now
but-
they're favored by they're favored by quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. And the
Uh,
piggyback question is, how much have you won? What's the biggest line that you win? The biggest one that you won?
Yeah, I won 250 on a 3-team parlay on the it was a Monday night game recently. It was like I think I only put down like $15.
Really?
And it was a I can actually give me a second. I can
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
I know
fine.
I know it's in here, but it was something like maybe $15, $10 to win 250.
And a parlay is the one where you bet you bet
You
several
bet
games.
more
You
than
bet
2,
one or two.
and then if you lose one, it's all done.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be like really searching about all those teams in order to do that.
Or you're just really lucky.
Or that too, yeah. Luck's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I know
sure.
that. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. But it's interesting how you would know really quickly about, especially the one you lost, because you're like, oh God, I'm gonna remember this forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlike me because I don't bet that much.
Right.
I don't put that much on a single game.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
So
That totally makes sense.
Definitely. My question is, obviously we've talked a lot about the
Whoops.
he's
Hello.
he's gone dark.
Gone dark. He's gone. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm out. You're not going to be able to ask that question. He was too upset with the fact that we asked him how much he lost. It's okay, Drew. You can come back. You can come back. I promise. It's really not a bad thing. I promise.
That's fine.
Awesome. So what was the question you were going to ask?
No, the question I was going to ask is, because obviously we were talking about the favorites. Obviously you're talking about, a lot of our talks are about betting the favorites, so to speak. It's pretty easy to bet the favorites in a game. But my curiosity question was, how do you sort of know, or what are you sort of looking for when you want to bet an underdog, so to speak, especially like a big time underdog? What are some of the things that you might be looking for in terms of betting, like I said, betting a team where they may be especially the ones that are very far underdog, and not favorite, especially when the money. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
I made it back.
Usually I'm the one just freezing out of telling
I didn't freeze
no.
out.
Good.
Oh, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's
It's all good. The question I wanted to ask, sort of my sort of final question here was, we talked about favorites and betting the favorite, and obviously it's pretty easy to to bet the favorite in a game, so to speak. But my question is, when betting the underdog, and what kind of should you look for, or what kind of, personally, Drew, what do you look for when you've got this line and you look at the underdog and say, hey, I would really like to bet this team, especially sometimes you get these big underdogs that just pull these upsets out of nowhere, so to speak, like you were talking about Lehigh, beating Duke a few years back. So I was just curious, what would somebody look for at an underdog to potentially, go with that team, which obviously would net you, I'm guessing a lot more money than if you just sort of bet the favorite straight up.
Yeah, I got one down on Portland tonight against the 76ers. They are 5.5 dogs at home. And I look at the team. I follow Portland pretty frequently. I think about, okay, it's Philadelphia. They're traveling cross country. That's time zones, right? Obviously, we don't have a huge home court advantage, but you have a team that has Damian Lillard. They are missing CJ McCollum. I just thought 5.5 at home. That's tough for a team that is in the hunt and will be a playoff team in the Western Conference and how strong that is. So I think about those kind of things. I'll take an example: the Broncos. I think the Broncos won one of their games. They were given like 13.5 at home. The Broncos cover. They cover. They may lose majority of their games, but they are a great cover team. So it's just it's a flip of a coin kind of thing, but I don't suggest betting on teams that you don't know anything about. I wouldn't say if the Ravens are 15-point dogs to the Falcons to take the Falcons. It's more the research you want to put into it. I would say don't bet with your heart. Don't bet with your heart.
True. Yeah, that's a very, very valid point. Yeah.
And don't bet what you're not willing to lose.
True. Yeah.
That's great advice.
Very good advice.
Great advice. Two biggies right there. That's
right.
Awesome advice right there.
But I am a big Sox fan. Dustin Pedroia, great career. Love the guy. He was he didn't swing a bat, he swung a log. That dude had the most violent swing for a 5'8" man.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he when he hit for power, he certainly hit for power. That's for sure. Yeah. I Dustin Pedroia will definitely be missed, and I don't think a lot of people were betting a whole lot on the 2020 Red Sox. That's for sure.
Well, to lose, maybe.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Betting on them to win, I don't think was happening a lot this past season. But definitely agree about Pedroia. He's a Red Sox legend in his own right, for sure.
Absolutely. And well, Robbie, what do you got? Any predictions for the 2021 season?
Drew with the big question.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's a great question. Hey, listen,
we're getting close to spring training.
I know
the truck already left.
Truck's
already
gone.
Truck's
They
gone.
filmed it. There's nobody there. Nobody could be there.
Red Sox, I mean, hey, Andrew Benintendi will not be walking through that door this season.
Neither would Mookie Betts.
Neither will Mookie, but Marwin Gonzalez, they did just pick him up today.
Okay.
Late breaking news. Yeah, that's a really good question. And I say I don't know what to expect because I truly don't know what to expect. I just hope we don't finish in last place. I guess is where my baseline that I'll start off with the 2020
good foundation.
Red Sox. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, just go right for the baseline there. I'm very happy. Listen, I'm one of the people that am happy that Alex Cora is returning. I mean, hey, listen, he has a bit of a checkered past. I get that. I hope he's learned his lesson. But obviously what he did with this team in 2018, I can't forget that. Leading us in his first year to a World Series title. Hopefully, maybe he can bring some of that magic back. With obviously, will be a much different team this time around. My big thing is I gotta look at what the pitching staff's like. Is Rodriguez back? Is Sale back? How is he doing? What's the bullpen? What I know and how's that Tommy John surgery going to affect him? I mean, I don't, he's been sort of on and off her for so many years now. What is this sort of, full reconstruction that they did this off season going to do for him? I don't know. It's tough to really get a grasp on this team so far because there are still a lot of question marks. I mean, listen, as I was saying to you guys sort of off air, as Doug knows, baseball has been my sport since I was 5-6 years old. I mean, I've been a Red Sox fan. First ever professional sporting event that I went to was a Red Sox game. I mean, it's
there you go.
I literally have a Red Sox calendar sitting right up here to my left here in my bedroom.
Everything is Red Sox.
Everything is Red Sox for sure. I cannot necessarily give a solid prediction at this point, but I will say, like I said, we're going back to that baseline. I truly hope, and I don't think that we will finish in last place. But other than that, it's gonna be an interesting season. It's gonna be a very interesting season for sure.
At least you didn't trade your Gold Glove third baseman.
True. Yes. Nolan Arenado.
Wow.
Basically the NL Central. Basically, yeah. You want to talk about betting? I would get those bets in on the Cardinals to win the NL Central right now because Nolan Arenado, heck of a player. I mean, no question about it. I don't know what the Rockies
just a lot of animosity between Dickmon. I mean, it's just front office stuff. It started last year. It continued into this year, and they literally shipped him. They got a few prospects from St. Louis, and they gave them an additional $50 million to take Arenado off their hands, essentially. So,
wow.
Trevor Story's on the books. I mean, Charlie Black. You don't really know who's going to stick. It's been crazy. I'm an A's fan. And they're always in it. They're always relevant in the AL West. But the Rockies are projected to win 60 games this year.
Wow.
60.
Yeah.
One less than the Pirates.
Yeah, Robbie is exceptionally he is very passionate. Let's say.
Wait, I do have to, sorry to cut you off, Doug. I do have to ask, being an A's fan, have you seen the movie Moneyball?
Absolutely, and I read the
book. Do you prescribe to the Moneyball theory? I don't mean to go down this road too much, but do you prescribe to the Billy Bean theory of baseball?
I mean, when you win 20 games in a row, I mean, jeez, you weren't doing anything wrong. But in this day and age, you have to have money. You need the players. You need high IQ players. You need the WAR, obviously. The A's are always they're always digging themselves out above the sand to be like, hey, we're here. Oh, okay. I can't tell you how many first round wild card games they've been in, and I'm watching the game and they're just getting toasted because it's a one and done. This last year I think they did win their 3-game series and they moved on.
Yeah.
But God, it's we got the Raiders that moved on. You got the Sharks that they're doing their best. And now in Oakland, all you have is the A's, and ride or die. You got Matt Chapman. I think we have the best third baseman in the league.
Matt Chapman hey, listen, Matt Chapman is very good in his own right.
Chris Davis ain't no slump. I mean,
absolutely.
Here's the thing: is a small market is Denver is a small market. Oakland is a small market.
Yeah.
Why is Oakland consistently being in the race, consistently being the wild card, and the Rockies can spend as much money as they can and they can't even scrape together 71 wins.
True. That's a good
Like-
point. Yeah.
Dick Monfort, what are you doing with your team? Do you have a baseball president?
Yeah.
Or
Small
do you have a
market.
business president?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I will tell you this: when Coors Field is popping, it is popping. It is street to street to street. People are at the games on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. But where are you taking your money? Why aren't we going out and getting that big name? How come we weren't in the race for Josh Donaldson? Josh Donaldson went to the Indians a few years ago. That's a big bat. He would be great here.
Oh, yeah. No, you're
I don't
absolutely no, you're absolutely right. And it's not like small market teams. I mean, you look at the Rays just this year. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays going to the World Series.
That's Moneyball right there.
If Kevin Cash had decided to just go all out there and pull Snell in the 6th inning with a 1-0 lead. But again, I've already read.
I don't think analytics work in baseball. I think you got to go gut feel. Analytics work great in basketball,
right?
But I don't think they work in certain situations.
You got to ride the hot hand. After a certain point, you got to ride the hot hand. I mean, when a guy is shutting out the LA Dodgers, one of the top teams, from start to finish in baseball that last season, when he is shutting them out in the 6th inning, and you're gonna pull him from the game in a 1-0 ball game.
I'm picturing Snell walking off the mound in that game too. How utterly disappointed he was.
God, he was. Disappointed. He was just thoroughly pissed off. I mean,
absolutely, just like.
Yeah, like what is wrong with you, Kevin? And listen, I'm no Rays fan by any means, but at the same time, it's like, what are you doing, Kevin Cash? Like that's like I really did compare it to Grady Little pulling Pedro Martinez in that game, or sticking with Pedro Martinez in Game 7 and 03. I mean, it just like I don't know if I'll ever get why Cash did that, or then the analytics, which I think is really was not the wisest move for him. But
I don't think baseball analytics makes sense for pitching wise. I mean, roll with it, run. That's the basis of Moneyball is analytics, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a baseball guy and you got someone that's hot through 6, let's see if we can go through 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you got to lose? You're up 1 or 2. He's throwing a 3-hitter. Defense is playing well.
Low pitch count too. I think it was his pitch count, like 7,
69, 71,
72, something like that. Yeah. It's like, why again? Ride that hot hand. I mean, why? Yeah, it just didn't. Like I said, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Right. And in basketball, it's completely different. Is a 3? A long 3 is more important than a short or a mid-range 2.
Right.
You might as well take the 3. And everything under the basket is you take. So they're completely 2 different sports, but analytics plays a lot into those 2 sports. I don't know. I'm not huge on hockey and how that works. And then football. What was that? Green Bay, right? Green Bay, they went with the analytics, right?
Yeah.
And they end up losing the game anyways.
Yeah. I mean, basketball, especially, you're absolutely right about the long 3, especially if you have Steph Curry on the floor. Then you can pretty much
Harden, Fred VanVleet. I mean, the line is blurred now. No one takes a mid-range 2.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. By the way, I love it. I love the baseball talk, because usually we sort of focus on other sports on this show. But Doug, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Doug. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's great baseball talk, great sports talk right there. That's what we do here at the Sports Blitz. That's what we do. We sometimes go on Robbie, how many times have we gone on a tangent?
All
right off the track.
All the time.
And it's all good. It's all good. We do it all the time.
So
It's not a problem at all.
Oh no.
But I wanted to ask you my final question, and my final question is because we brought up baseball. It's more on baseball than anything else. I wanted to ask you one betting question. The betting question is that it looks like you like to bet more on college, or like college basketball and college stuff. Do you like the college better than the pros, or does it you're just like, okay, well, I know this team over here in the pros, and I know, Tennessee, and I know Tennessee football, or I know Tennessee basketball. Is there a certain way that you kind of look at the betting kind of situation? Do you steer away from certain things? How do you do that?
Yeah, the one thing I steer away from is cricket. Those games can last 3 days.
I would certainly stay away from the cricket stuff.
But
besides
bet
on
that,
how many days it lasts.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I put down $20 on a cricket game once, and I thought I called Bovada and I said, "Well, what's wrong with?" They're like, "Oh, well, these matches can go 3 days." I was like, "What? Why?
What?
I had no idea.
Did you win?
Joking.
Did you win anything?
No, I lost.
3 days of a loss.
No idea what I was.
That's even worse when you have to wait 3 days for a loss.
Yeah. I am a seasonal bettor. As football ends, I will get more into basketball. March Madness starts up.
Huge betting.
I do follow. I follow the Western, Mountain West, the ACC with Gonzaga. Those are the teams that you feel are going to do well. Towards the end of the year, there's teams that they play that they're just trying to get out of the year. They're just like, let's just end this before the tournament. NBA, I bet NBA like crazy. I think I got, what am I got right now? I have a 5-team parlay on the 3 games or 5 games tonight. Baseball.
Is Celtics one of them?
Yeah.
Is that why you asked about it?
Yes. Let me pull it up. I got to pull it up real quick.
Is that why you asked about it? Because you're like, oh, is Celtics winning? That's what I kind of thought that you might have had a thought.
I think I got Jason Tatum. I got Jason Tatum on a prop.
Oh, there you go. What's the prop you have for Jason Tatum?
Yeah, Jason Tatum over 2.5 threes made.
Oh, yeah, that I would bet that too, I guess.
Anyone got that? Anyone got the news on that?
Oh boy, he's 1 of 3 so far from 3. That's the 4th quarter.
Oh no! Oh boy!
All right.
No.
Hey, that's why. They don't call it winning; they call it gambling.
That's right. Absolutely. But no, that totally makes sense that you would, and it sounds like you kind of may not have a theory or a thought process, but your thought process is that you bet on things that you know. Teams that you know, things that you know about the teams, because it makes it personalizes it, and that's what it sounds like you go for.
Yeah, and it's hard not to bet it. I'm a Red Sox fan in my heart. I know their history. I'm an A's fan. It's hard to bet against those teams. It's hard to bet against Raiders.
Yeah.
And I try to steer away from them unless I physically feel like I've done my research. That's a lock. But again, I'm not making my living off of it. I do it for a lot of fun, and I get to share it with you guys. And
right.
What's wrong with that?
No, nothing's wrong at all with that. Nothing at all is wrong with that. And the last thing I have is any final thoughts on betting, any information, any advice, anything that you can throw out there to the people that are watching that you may want to throw out there to them. I know you said a lot, so.
I would say if you get a chance, play a future bet on the Chiefs to win the AFC next year.
That's very fair. That's very valid. Yeah, that's a very
That is
valid.
a very valid.
I
Yeah.
said to numerous people, I think the Chiefs are going to be back next year. I don't see them going really.
They already
anywhere
have them. They
anytime
already
soon.
have them winning the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah,
They already have them winning the Super Bowl next year. So yeah, I mean that's very valid. You're right. It's totally
And
valid on that.
also, I just want to say thank you guys again. You guys do a great job. I told the team about this, and so hopefully, they give it a look. I'll give it to my parents. They'll love it.
Definitely give it to your parents too. Yeah, throw it to them so they could be on. Wanted to, before we go to our final thoughts for everybody, I just want to tell you, Drew, thanks for coming on. That's the first thing. It was awesome. It's something we've never talked about here in the Sports Blitz. I'm glad. And because you're such a fan of sports, and I think Robbie will agree with me, and I've already talked about this, we would love to have you on again. Not necessarily to talk about betting, but let's just have you on to talk about sports, especially when baseball starts, especially because you're a Red Sox fan, especially when baseball starts, because I have a feeling that you and Robbie will get into some interesting conversations. Robbie, if you look at some of our past episodes, and please look at them, we're on many different social media, but Robbie does get very heated at times when it comes to baseball and it comes to the Red Sox, especially with the new changes, new changes and rules and stuff like that.
Please don't get me started. Please don't get me started.
Don't get him started. I'm not trying
started.
to just overviewing it. So we'd love to have you on again. But right now, we're going to do our final thoughts. So we're going to go right to Drew, our guest, our special guest. What is your final thought for the evening?
Final thought is it's a great podcast. It's great energy. And, for those that don't know about how gambling works, or those that are looking to hopefully get it legalized, I really hope that your state considers it. It's a moneymaker, man. It is great for the state. It's great for the community. And it's also a lot of fun. I can't tell you enough how much I've yelled at a TV and had, it's just the spectrum of emotions. Again, like I said, it's for fun. I don't make a living on it. I just makes the game a little bit more interesting, and appreciate you guys. And that was great. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Robbie, what's your final thought for the evening?
So my final thought is going to be baseball related. But first wanted to say thank you to Drew for coming on. Absolutely had an awesome time having you on tonight for sure. But yeah, hey, listen, I do have to comment about the Andrew Benintendi trade. You guys watching know me as the Red Sox fan that I am. How do I put this? I'm not quite sure what the Red Sox are doing. Getting a guy back who's been compared to Willie Mo Pena, which is not necessarily the best comparison to have.
Not a good comparison at all.
Hey, listen, Benny was one of my favorites on the team. I mean, listen, that 2018 playoff run that he had in left field was something that'll be remembered forever. Some of those plays that he made, Game 4 against the Astros, I think will live on every Red Sox fan's mind for, like I said, for years to come. Yeah, so I just want to say, Benny, again, he's not watching this podcast, but I'm going to say it anyway. Benny, yeah, exactly. Benny, thank you for everything that you did for the Red Sox during your time here. You were a homegrown talent. You really had some great moments here, like I said, especially defensively. I wish you nothing but the best in Kansas City. And I hope Bloom knows what he's doing. I'm gonna leave it right there, Doug, before I get too far off course this particular episode. So
yeah, absolutely. Robbie, tell us what your sister said. Sister being a huge Red Sox fan.
Yeah, so she said, first of all, my sister has literally been an emotional wreck this entire day because Betty was her favorite player. But second of all, she basically said that after losing, bets and now about attending, that the Red Sox outfield has gone from win, dance, repeat to win, dance, get traded. So so
I thought that was a great line. 'Cause we
great,
talked about
very,
that before.
great line. Great line. Shout out to my sister Sarah for that one. But
yeah.
Doug, what is your final thought for this evening?
Absolutely, Doug. Let's hear it.
Wow, I got big shoes to fill right now. My final thought for the evening is twofold. It always is twofold when we have a guest. First, I want to thank Drew for coming on. Drew is awesome. Great sports talk and great betting talk. Because again, we've never talked about this. And this, you talking about it, and I know you just do it for fun. You're not a professional gambler that goes and does this 24 hours a day. And you've given me some thought process of what gambling is all about and what sports gambling can be, and it can actually be fun and not something that you can throw a ton of money at, but you can do it because it personalizes sports. It makes it fun because you're watching a game and you bet on the color, the home shirts or whatever it is.
And
that's
Lonzo
just
Ball
fun
had 2 threes.
Right, exactly.
You're watching.
Give me one more. Exactly. So it adds to the sports experience, and that's what it sounds like. And you've made it clear that that's why you do it. You don't do it because you make a living at it. You do it because it's fun and it adds to the experience of you watching the sports. And I think it's great. So again, thank you for coming on. But I wanted to, I just noticed this online. This is actually a basketball thing because, I'm a huge basketball guy, college and pro, mostly pro, but I do watch the college game. I love basketball. It's just one of my favorite sports. So, Inside the NBA is going to have a documentary that's coming out March 4th. And I'll tell you, if you ever want to watch something really, really funny, you have to watch Inside the NBA. We got, the guys on there, Kenny Smith and Shaq, and it's just, they all play off each other and they are hilarious. They are really funny, but they actually know what they're talking about. They're really good at
Kenny the Jet Smith.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Played for Houston. So it's one of those things where I can't wait for this documentary because it's probably going to be really, really, really interesting. And it looks like it's actually pretty funny too, because Shaq has Shaq to Fool. Look up that on YouTube too, because that's hilarious. It looks like it's going to be really cool. So I just thought I'd bring it up. It's coming out March 4th. I don't know the network. I don't know TNT. The network. Yeah, it's TNT. Yeah. Well, they're on TNT, but it is coming out on TNT March 4th. So Inside the NBA documentary, very, very cool. And again, like to thank Drew for coming on. This has been a great episode. We'd love you to come back and have fun with us again and talk sports. And we had a great time. And remember, Robbie, we're on YouTube. Yep. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're going to throw it out there everywhere so you can see it. Just click on the links. If you go on to what's called Sports Blitz on YouTube, hey, subscribe and click that bell because you'll get those episodes and you'll get notifications about that. I did it. So I had to do it. But anyway,
it was in my contract.
That's right. It's in my contract. I have to do it. The one I made with Robbie. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on episode number 72. I'm Doug. That's Robbie. That's Drew below. He's below me. That's Drew. Drew, thank you so much for coming on. Robbie, we had a great time. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you, everybody.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Doug.